ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kevin Jackwitz. This is the Kaged Review, and this is my review for Captain America: The First Avenger. Directed by Joe Johnston, this introduces us to Steve Rogers, Captain America, played by Chris Evans. So Chris Evans starts out this really scrawny kid, and they did a great job of making him look really small. He's supposed to be kind of sickly. He's got asthma. He's got a bunch of things, but he wants to fight for the United States. And I think it's World War II. Yeah, Hitler. So World War II. So he's going through all these different MEP stations and trying to get enlisted and to fight for the country, but he can't. So there's a conversation between him and Bucky Barnes, who is played by Sebastian Stan, who it just becomes phenomenal in the Marvel movies. And their conversation is overheard by Dr. Abraham Erskine, which is played by Stanley Tucci. I love Stanley Tucci. He's such a great actor. And so Stanley Tucci's character hears this conversation about this kid who can't get enlisted but is trying his heart out. And so Dr. Abraham approaches Steve Rogers and says, maybe I can help you get in the military. And so they bring him in and they have a bunch of military testing for him. And it's run by Peggy Carter, played by Haley Atwell, and Colonel Chester Phillips, played by Tommy Lee Jones. Both of these are just hard-ass, like, kind of drill instructor types, even though a colonel wouldn't usually be a drill instructor. But they're running these troops, and it's kind of like a test to see who they want to pick for this program to make a super soldier. And Chris Evans, he passes all the tests, you know, like one of the big ones was they threw a grenade on the ground in front of a bunch of troops and like he covered it with his body, you know, just showing that he's the type of guy that's willing to sacrifice, that he's willing to do whatever it takes to protect his fellow man. And so they decide that he's the one that they're going to go with, and they get Howard Stark, played by Dominic Cooper, and Carter, Erskine, Phillips, and Howard Stark all get Steve Rogers in here. They introduce this serum into his veins, and it turns him into this very, very physically superior specimen. A lot of muscle, but not just muscle. He's superhumanly fast, strong. He's got a great military strategy mind. So these are all the things that make up Captain America. And right there, as soon as they are done with making Captain America, there is an agent from Hydra, which is this like science division of the Nazis. And he shoots Stanley Tucci and steals the serum. So there's a big chase scene where you see right away that Steve Rogers is now superhuman. He's chasing down cars on foot, jumping over building tall fences. So right away, you kind of get the gist that, okay, this stuff worked. On the other side of that, on Hydra's side, you have basically the evil equal opposite of Captain America, which is Red Skull, played by Hugo Weaving. And I love Hugo Weaving as an actor. I don't think there's anything that he has done that he just isn't remarkable in. Like, you can always tell Hugo Weaving. And even when he has terrible roles, he can still make it his own and make it somewhat interesting. And the Red Skull, I don't know, man. As far as bad guys go in movies, villains, I still feel like they were one-trick villains up to this point. I feel like Red Skull didn't really have a defined motivation. He was just part of this Nazi science division that wanted to break away from the Nazis and kind of exceed the Nazis and kind of become his own thing. But it doesn't really have any motivation there for that. He has Dr. Armin Zola, who is played by Toby Jones, who is this kind of reluctant scientist helping him out because they found what is called the Tesseract. And this is kind of what they've been basing this serum off of, both for Red Skull and for Captain America. And so it all leads to the big fight between Captain America and Red Skull, of course. And the Red Skull has got a lot of bombs that are going to kill a lot of people. And so on this plane, during the fight, the Red Skull decides he's going to grab the Tesseract, and it just kills him because he can't hold on to it. And you actually see him being transported to somewhere, and we don't know where. And as we found out, he becomes very important in later movies. So Steve Rogers is then on the plane by himself, and he has these bombs, and he's over water, and he realizes that he has to sink the plane with him in it. And so there was a big love interest between Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter, and it kind of slowly evolved over the movie, and then you realize that these two were very connected. And so the last big moment of Steve Rogers was him talking to Peggy, saying that he's going to have to take a rain check on a date. And, of course, she's upset, and then he dunks the plane. At the very end of the movie, you see Steve Rogers wake up in this facility, and it turns out to be a SHIELD facility, and Samuel L. Jackson reprises his role as Nick Fury, and he lets Steve Rogers know that he's been asleep for about 70 years. And, he's really upset because he missed his date with Peggy Carter. And so really good, man. Honestly, the movie overall looked really good. I really love a lot of the actors in here. They had some great actors for this. Stanley Tucci, I absolutely love. Tommy Lee Jones, I absolutely love. Hugo Weaving, Toby Jones, Samuel L. Jackson. You've got a hell of a cast here, so I expected it to be good. And even though the writing wasn't great at moments, I think a lot of the delivery was still there. And that was a big key for me. So really good performances. The movie was really fun all the way through. I didn't expect it to be as fun as it was, to be honest. I wasn't like Captain America, what can you do with them? And they, really killed it. So I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10 as well. I gave Thor an 8 out of 10. I really feel like these movies have been very, very solid when they first introduced all these characters. And this is really the last movie before the first Avengers. You've got everybody introduced now. And so we're moving on. And that was actually a mid-credit scene, or maybe it was an end-credit scene, where Samuel L. Jackson walks up to Steve Rogers. Rogers asks if he has a mission. Asks if he's trying to get him back in the world. And then Samuel L. Jackson says, I'm trying to get you to save it. And so that leads right into the Avengers. So very, very good movie all the way around. So ladies and gentlemen, that's my review of Captain America, the First Avenger. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz, Kaged Nation, out.